Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome back. This is the Poppin' Off podcast. My name is Tyler,
And I'm Aaron.
and it's been how many? 16 months, right? Yeah, 16
Yeah.
months,
Yes. Yes, it
almost
has been.
17 months since the last edition. Yeah, man, this is a while. I don't know what happened, I think we just had, a lot going
Life
on.
stuff, a
Yeah,
lot of personal popping offs to do.
yeah.
Uh, but we're back. We figured it out.
Yeah,
We
we
did it.
figured it out.
We did it.
Yeah,
We
so
successfully planned a podcast.
yeah, this is episode 26. I checked. I went back in the archives and looked. Um,
Okay.
it's been, like I said, a while. We've had a lot of things happen since. Um, yeah, so I don't know, how's life been? This is the first time I've talked to you. You know.
Yeah. I mean, no, we talk. I mean, okay. Like, I don't want the audience to think that we just don't. We only talk to the podcast. No, we talk. Like,
Yeah, we message
we
each other,
we
but this is the
message each
first time I've
other.
actually like talked to you in real time like this.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but we do talk. Don't worry, guys. This isn't a facade just for the podcast. We do message each other about things every so often. But no, yeah, lots happened. I don't even know where to start. I mean, considering we've been gone, well, not gone, but the podcast has been gone for about a little over a year, well, a
Yeah,
year and like 6 months, I
almost a
don't
year
know.
and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half. It's like where do you start with these things? But yeah, no, I've been good. Living the life, doing my thing. Uh yeah, today, well, as we're recording this, it is 420, which is a great day to
Oh
start
yeah,
these
I didn't even think
things.
about that. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great day to bring it back.
Yeah, happy 420 to those who celebrate. If
Yeah.
you know. Um but yeah, no, I mean I've been watching movies, still same shit, but uh yeah, I haven't I mean, I'm sure you have a lot more going on. I'm just kind of doing the regular young
Well,
adult
yeah,
thing.
I'm pretty much you guys watch my channel, I've made making videos, not as often, but I'm
Yeah.
working a lot and you know, certain things happen. You guys already know about my tinnitus situation. I've already, made videos about that and
Which I had like one question about that, if you don't
yeah.
mind me asking. Essentially, what I was gonna say is I don't think I've ever asked you. When it's I know when it's like quiet, you hear things like you can barely hear. I know you said it's been getting better, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's ever so slightly better than when it began. It's
Yeah,
still pretty much there.
yeah. So my question was when you're in like a louder environment, say like you're watching a movie, do you still kind of hear it, or is it kind of toned out from the sound wherever you're at?
So if I go to like a movie theater, for instance, a
Uh,
movie theater is ultra quiet when there's no noise. So I can hear it in there. But like
okay,
when there's like a scene where there's dialogue and there's talking and,
right, all
but when
right,
there's quiet moments during a movie, yeah, I can hear it. But when there's talking and action and stuff, obviously I can't hear it at all. So
right, all right,
yeah,
okay, okay. Um, Okay, cool. Well,
yeah,
that's the only thing I had to ask about that
yeah,
because I don't
I,
think.
I get it. It's definitely like people that don't have it, they're probably like, man, do you hear it like 24/7? Is it, I mean, if I really, really tried to hear it, I probably could, in
Don't
like
don't
a
do that.
louder,
Don't do
yeah.
it.
But oh, trust me, I know. I'm going on 7 months with this thing. I've been on quite the journey with this. Trust me. Um,
Right.
yeah, no, I can only really hear it if it's quiet. Like when I go to bed every night, yeah, I can hear it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't really get to me anymore. So
Right. Right. Right.
that's really the worst part of it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's really the big thing that's happened to me, in the past, like I said, I've been going on 7 months with this thing. Um, so yeah, I mean, for starters, I guess we could talk about, I guess, 2023 because we never covered that year at all. We skipped over that entire year.
Yeah, which is funny because that's arguably the year. Well, I'll get into it right now. But that's the year I have watched the most movies I think I've ever watched in my life.
That's crazy. Wow.
So this is a little spoiler because hold on, give me a second. I'm going to close my door because someone is cooking outside. But give me one quick sec. Okay. Sorry about that, but let me get right back into this. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, a little spoiler for the channel of wannabe comedy. I started this journey essentially. last year. Well, I came up with the idea late last year, but I didn't know if I would fully commit. But I decided to commit. But I have a video coming out at some point whenever this whole challenge is done, which is ranking literally every movie from 2023, like
Oh wow.
everything. And in the sense that I last year I'd already watched a lot. I had the ability to watch a lot of movies, considering I worked at a theater, so I had
Hmm.
the ability to go watch a lot. And my schedule was a bit more free last year. I gave myself the challenge of watching every movie that comes out. Um, and when I say everything, I mean everything. I mean again, so I had already watched a lot last year, and at that point I was like, well, I've seen so much. Why not watch everything? And in my head, that seemed easy because it was like, oh, it would be just be general releases. And then it delved into, well, wait, if I'm watching this thing, why am I not watching this thing?
Right.
And then I would challenge myself and was like, what if I just watched everything? Which everything means every big release, every movie that had buzz, and every movie that I had a personal slight interest in watching.
Right.
Um, so I have on Letterbox a ranking right now on everything I've seen, and currently it is at 94 films.
Yeah, I see that. I'm like, holy shit, I just pulled it up. I can't believe that's how many you watched.
Yeah, and I still have a watch list of 32 more to go.
Jeez.
Um,
I'm looking at mine. I only watched 29.
yeah. So at first it was fun because I was watching a lot of movies that I was interested in or general releases, which have slight interest in. But then it delves into, well, then I have to watch these other movies that I might not have cared about, but because I did the challenge, I kind of have to watch, like movies that I wouldn't have watched regularly, but because it was technically a big theatrical release or had some slight buzz somewhere that
Right.
people would know of, I had to watch it. So considering I was saving those movies, well, not all of them, like there's still some bigger movies I still need to see. Like I haven't seen the Hunger Games yet,
Mhm.
the one from last year, which that's one I did want to see. I just haven't gone around to yet. There's a couple others that I do think are going to be good. Like there's some Best Picture movies I still haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But then you dive into like the bottom of my list, which has been what I've been watching a lot recently, and it's been hard. It's been hard. It's been really tough because uh watching movies that aren't good or movies that you don't care about sometimes can be a bit of a challenge, especially when you do them back to back. Like there were days where I was watching three movies like just
Jesus.
back to back to back, up until like the wee hours of the night, um, just so I can get this done because I want to make a video essentially ranking everything and
Right.
talking about everything. Um, like I've been fully committed to making that video. So I want to get this done, and I don't want to leave it to where someone in the comments is like, "Oh, you missed this movie." Like I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to see everything from last year.
Right.
Um,
And not to make this
and
worse of a challenge for you, but you might want to do it ASAP because people are like 2023, that was like 10
well,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, that's another thing I'm doing. I'm gonna put I watch. I think I'm gonna the way I'm gonna title it is I watched everything in 2023, and I'm in the thumbnail. I'm gonna put like however long months it took me. So like
Okay,
it
that's smart. Yeah.
like 16 months, so it's still
Right.
engaging, and they know it's leading into this year. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of shit, but there have been a couple of surprises. Um, uh, but overall, as of late, I've been watching a lot of garbage, and it's been a headache to
I'm
to
looking at the
do.
list. It looks like Cocaine Bear is the worst one. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
no, that still is the worst one.
Okay.
Spoilers, yeah. I mean, we could talk a little bit about my list. But as of right now, yeah, spoilers. Cocaine Bear is at the very bottom, just because and that was one I watched in theaters because I was slightly excited for,
Yeah.
and ugh, oh
Wow.
my gosh, it was unironically just so boring and uninteresting, and the kills were
Wow.
so whatever. Like it was just, and I think on top of that, the disappointment measure, which I already didn't go into it with like crazy hype. I was like, just be a fun movie. I just want to see Bear kill people, and they couldn't even successfully
Yeah.
do that to an extent because the kills are so whatever and weirdly put together. So that's so far the worst, and that's with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey on my list as well. Um, But yeah, no, I still got 23 more to go. I haven't I mean sorry, not 23, 32 left to go.
Ay, ay, ay.
Um I haven't really been watching I haven't really been keeping up with it as of late just because there's been other stuff I've been watching. Like I went and I saw a couple movies in theaters this year, and I have been showing my girlfriend the Star Wars movies for the first time, because we have a Star Wars event coming up at Disneyland next week, and I wanted her to be caught up. So
Okay.
we just finished the prequels. Speaking of poo poo caca, no, okay, I get. But I won't do. Okay, we can talk about the prequels in a little bit, but I want to hear your thoughts. 2023, we're still kind of on that topic. Do you have any comments about movies from last year?
Yeah, like I said, my list is nowhere near yours. Yours is literally more than triple mine.
Yeah.
Um, but my favorite movie from that last year was The Holdovers. Like that one,
Oh,
oh man.
fantastic.
I
Yeah,
love like I don't know, something about that's like a really feel good movie. You know what I mean? It's
it's very
very
cozy.
yes, very cozy. I mean, there's definitely sad parts of it.
Drama. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, trauma. But the guy that directed that, man, he's I don't, he made a movie called Election, which is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm
Okay.
talking crying, laughing. Um,
Okay.
but
Never
I
seen it.
haven't seen all of his stuff. And man, this guy, he's super talented, man. He made a movie that really felt like it was from the 70s. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, the vibe, the
and Paul
aesthetic. It was.
Giamatti was
Mhm.
fantastic. The young actor, I forget his name, he was great. The lady, she won an Oscar. I forget her name, but yeah, man,
Right.
everybody in that movie was fantastic. I mean,
You know, like I knew Oppenheimer was gonna win Best Picture. I have it ranked higher than the Holdovers on my list, but I
mhm.
was kind of sort of rooting for the Holdovers to win Best Picture. I
Yeah,
was
me
like,
too.
I had a little place for it. But yeah,
Yeah, and most of the year, John Wick Chapter 4 was like my number one movie, and I was like, man,
right.
this feels kind of weird. Why is John Wick 4 like my number one movie for the year? And then I eventually saw Holdovers, and it changed. But don't get me wrong, John Wick 4 was incredible.
Yeah,
Um, So yeah,
definitely my
last
third.
year was very good overall. Like on my list, I
Yeah.
don't have any I hated. I mean, Fast X is at the bottom for good reason. Um, so yeah, even the Marvels, that's my second worst on my list. I don't totally hate that movie. So yeah,
Yeah,
last year was pretty good.
that's why I had started this list because last year, from what I had seen, last year was a very strong year, at least for me. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's a lot of good movies out. I'm sure there's a lot more good. That ended up being not as true. But even then, like I would say on my list at a certain point, even like a bit lower, there's movies like that become tolerable. Like I would say there's a lot more decent on my list than there is just bad that I would never watch again.
Uh-huh.
Um, like I don't like even the ones that are on lower on my list, like middle to lower. I still consider those to be fine.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't think there was a whole like I do think last year was a pretty solid year for film.
Mhm.
We got a new Saw movie, which we haven't talked about last time. Remember the last podcast? Well, I don't know when it was, but when it was when no, not Jigsaw, Spiral came out.
Oh
We talked a
yeah.
lot about Spiral. And
Yeah.
there's a new Saw movie that came out, and I have totally changed my mind on the Saw franchise. Um, I love Saw now,
Oh yeah.
guys. I love Saw. I watched all of them. I ranked them all, and I really liked Saw X.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was. It was a surprise, that movie.
Mhm.
I did a whole, I want to say that, I don't know if it was my longest review I ever did, but it was a really long review. I did
Yeah.
almost 30 minutes, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, I gushed about that movie. And they're supposed to well, they are making Saw 11. It was supposed to come out this October, but they
It got
pushed it to
postponed.
next
Yeah.
October. Which is fine, they should take their time with it. Because back in the day, they were releasing a Saw every single year for the first 7 years. Um, and obviously they got a little, especially part seven was terrible. Um, so I'm glad they're taking their time with it. But yeah, Saw
Yeah.
X was fantastic, man. I gotta look at your
Yeah.
list. Let me see how you have them. So you have
Um,
Saw X in third place. Okay, that's fine. You really like Saw 4, which really surprised me.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know what it was about it. I don't know. It just really did a lot for me.
yeah.
I really liked a lot of the traps. I liked the story where it went. I actually started to like it. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It charmed me. Saw
Yeah, the
4
ones that
charmed me, guys.
surprised me on your list as being kind of high are Saw 4 and Jigsaw. I don't know. I feel like those are kind of high for me, but it's fine.
Well, okay, I rewatched all of them except Jigsaw. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I kind of have Jigsaw in the middle just because I still need to rewatch that one more time just to be certain.
Okay.
But I'm just going based off like the 2 times I've seen it, which have been a minute. So I just have that in the middle for now. I'll rewatch it
Yeah.
again, and I'm sure it'll probably go a little lower. But I know a lot of people love Saw 2. I didn't care. Oh no, I liked Saw 2. I
Oh,
did.
Saw 2, I love that movie, man, where they're trapped in the house and oh my God,
Yeah. No,
that
no, get me
one.
wrong. I enjoyed Saw 2. It's just I know a lot of people have that as like their first. I know I've seen some people like
Yeah.
first or second, but it's middle of the tier for me. And of course the bottom is Saw 3D. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's everyone's bottom of the tier.
Yeah, and what
Um
surprised me too, you have Saw 3 very low as well.
I didn't care that much for Saw 3. It's
You know what
just
it is about Saw 3 that kind of ruins it a little bit is Jeff because he is so stupid and
right.
does everything so
Yes.
slow. He ruins that movie to be honest.
And I just didn't like the location. I didn't care for much of the traps because Jeff was an idiot during most of them.
Yeah.
Um, I just didn't like it. I mean, uh, Kramer was just kind of just coughing up here and there, and I was like, oh okay. I didn't really
Yeah.
care for much of the side characters. Even Amanda, she was arguably my favorite character in the franchise. I was just like, mm, like I get it. I don't know. It didn't do much for me. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I just yeah.
You know, something
Um,
I've come to realize as I got older is like, okay,
yes.
so the first five Saw movies or so, I watched those when I was like 11 and 12 years old. So like when you're younger, you watch these movies and they're like the most epic things ever. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
When you get older and you rewatch them, you're kind of like, wow, these movies don't have the same effect. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like these things used to seem so grand and epic to me, where now I watch them and I'm like, these movies are just okay. And I kind of feel the same way about Saw 3 now. I mean, I still love it, but when I watched Saw 3 back in the day, I was like, dude, this is the most epic movie. Like Jigsaw dies
Mm-hmm.
at the end and they have this
Mm-hmm.
whole crazy storyline with him and Amanda and it's like, oh my God, it's like this epic reveal at the end. And then I watch it now, I'm just like, yeah, it's like an okay movie. You know what I mean?
Even the
Like
plot I thought was kind of just like the plot twist. I was like, that's it. Like that's I don't know. It just was very convoluted to me.
right. And then as a kid too, like I'm not questioning like why did the screenwriters have Jeff be this bumbling idiot? He does everything so slow. I was just like, okay, this is the movie. Like this is just how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things because like I've been watching, you know, the first couple movies like most of my life. So I'm just like I
Mm-hmm.
kind of have more value, I guess, with the
Yeah.
first couple movies. But now I get it. It's like, okay, if someone watches it now, like an older age, they'll be like, okay, these movies aren't really that great, you know? So I
No,
totally understand.
there's definitely some strong stuff. Like the traps, regardless of how bad or worse they are, it's still fun. I still had a great time watching all of them.
Yeah,
Um, I loved the first Saw. It's a classic. Saw 4, I really liked watching. Saw X was like it's still a great franchise. Like I love Saw.
it
It's
is.
just,
Yeah.
as an overall, it's good.
Yeah.
It's just individually I could see why some people are like, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
yeah.
get it.
Um,
So
but okay, so were there any movies that I guess you found to be overrated, underrated from last year?
from last year. Okay, let me look at
Yeah.
my list again. Hold on, it's loading. And I'm really, I'm so glad I got into this letterbox thing because it's so convenient now. You know what I mean? Because like you can just
Uh-huh.
like look at, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you can make lists and like, oh yeah, I ranked it this way and okay.
Which hold
Let's see.
on. Sorry. Side note. To those listening, if you aren't aware, me and Tyler are absolutely better than everyone because we are Letterbox Pro members. If you weren't aware, just have to
Oh,
throw
well,
that out there.
patrons actually.
Oh,
Patrons even
sorry,
higher than pro.
patrons. Yeah, patrons. Sorry, we're both patrons. I
Yeah.
influenced Tyler to do it.
Yes, you did.
If you could tell him a story about how that happened.
So like, okay, I've been on Letterboxd for a little bit now, and I've always like hesitated about it. I'm like, man, should I
Same.
really do it? And then one day I saw that you did it, and I was like, man,
Uh-huh.
I gotta do it now. I mean,
Right.
Aaron's sitting over here customizing all this shit. It looks really cool. I'm like, man, I gotta do it. So yeah, I did it, and I'm glad I did because I don't know, I just feel fancy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, we can only change posters, but every time we could throw it in someone's face, we have to because that's the only thing we have. Considering we spent
Right.
almost $50 on this, but Um,
A year,
we get
not
to
like a monthly thing, you know.
yeah, but hey, we get to customize posters,
Yeah,
so
why
that
not?
makes us
Fuck it.
elites. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Okay, so I would definitely say overrated would be the Mario movie. I feel like it was just okay. You know, it was just a
Interesting. Okay.
standard movie, but since it's
Right.
Mario, everybody kind of blew it out of proportion. But
Uh-huh.
don't get me wrong, I love the Peaches song. I love Jack Black, you know.
Okay.
But that was probably my most overrated. Um, Underrated, I'd probably say Next Goal Wins by Taika Waititi. I really enjoyed that one.
Okay.
That was a fun little movie, you know. Um, I'd probably say Beau's Afraid went underrated as well. You know,
Okay.
Ari Aster's movie. A
Yeah.
lot of people didn't really see that one, and I feel like it was very well done. I mean, it's very artsy fartsy at the end, but it's still a really
Yeah.
well done movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with the fucking you know what at the end. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. If we just say what it is out of context, not to mention the movie's been out for quite some time. If I'm sure if anyone who want to see it has seen it, but
oh,
we can
that's
mention
funny
out of
that you say
context.
that because if I remember correctly, it was 420 last year it came out, so it's a 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
I did a double feature.
In the movie there is a giant penis. Just that is what he's referring to.
Yeah, it's
In
a
case
giant
you were
monster
confused.
at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
He's a real dick. Um,
Yeah, he is.
yeah, it was on 420. I remember I watched Evil Dead Rise and Beau was Afraid on the
Okay.
same day. That was fun.
Evil Dead Rise, by the way, great film.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, that was great. Um, but yeah, I pretty much say overall that's my only ones I would call overrated, underrated, really. Yeah, again, I haven't seen quite as many as you have, so I'm sure
Yeah.
you have a better
I mean,
list.
there is also other things we get into, considering that we do have, well, at least from what I've seen, there are some movies that me and you both agree on, and there's some movies I noticed that we have in totally different places.
Okay.
Um, but I will say, in terms of, because I've seen a lot more.
Yeah.
Underrated. I would say, oh yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant
Oh,
Mayhem.
I heard that was actually really good.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
I've only seen it the one time, but I have it quite high on my list because it genuinely surprised me. Like I went into it thinking it was gonna be okay, just like a okay animated movie. Ninja Turtles are always cool, but dude, like the animation and like the way it's all put together,
Mhm.
like it's honestly probably my favorite Ninja Turtles movie.
I mean, that's
Like
not really saying much to be honest. I mean,
no,
this
no.
is
I
for
mean,
me,
obviously there's
but
the classics, but
yeah,
yeah. I mean that's not a high. It's not like you said,
yeah.
it's not much of a high bar,
The
but
Secret of the Ooze.
it's genuinely a really well made movie. It like the animation's awesome, the score is great, the characters I think all really work well in this iteration. Um,
Yeah.
it just genuinely surprised me how much I really liked this movie. Like
It's like Spider-Verse animation, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a bit different in a couple of aspects, but overall, it's pretty similar to Spider Verse and like that kind of comic booky looking art style.
Uh-huh.
Um, but man, it's really like it's so good. It's so much fun. Um, and if you haven't seen it, like I know you might think it's just a dumb kids movie, but if you like Spider Verse, you'll probably like this one,
Okay.
especially if you like Ninja Turtles. It's man, it's so good. So that would be one I would give an underrated to. Another underrated movie I would say is The Creator,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
directed by
Gareth Edwards, Mr.
Gareth
Godzilla.
Edwards, Mr. Godzilla. Yeah, that's an underrated director too. Who I by the way, apparently is directing a new Jurassic World movie coming
Yeah,
out.
it's called Jurassic City, which I'm like, okay. Well, that's a
Okay,
working title, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm automatically watching that. I will watch anything Gareth Edwards put into the screen. Uh, and which yeah, The Creator. It was. I actually went and watched it at the famous location from Iron Man 3, the Chinese theater. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's just famous in general. But yes, the bombing in
yeah,
Iron
I
Man 3.
know.
Yes.
It's because no one likes Iron Man 3 apparently other than us, so I had
And
to give it a
also the
shout out.
Guardians holiday special.
Right, the Guardians Highlight special,
Yeah.
which apparently they fixed it by then. Apparently it was well put together after the events of Iron Man 3. No more
Yeah.
death, but I like to say it was made famous by Iron Man 3. This staple of a theater. But yeah, I watched it there. That was my first time I watched a movie there. It was technically IMAX. It really wasn't full IMAX, but anyway,
What's it like
um
in there, by the way? Is it very like, is everything like super old in there? Obviously,
uh,
the theaters are updated, I assume.
yeah, the seats are pretty standard. But once you go in, it's like a very kind of old school like concession stand. And then you walk into there's only one theater. It's just concessions and then two doors on the side that just lead right into the theater.
Hmm.
Um, at least the main theater, because there's also other side theaters. There's like a whole separate building for like actual regular theaters.
Okay.
But the main theater, which is like the very one in the front, it's an IMAX theater, so that's where they play all the big movies.
Yeah.
Um, you walk in and it's just two doors on the side that leads right into the theaters. It's a pretty small front, but the whole building pretty much takes up just a whole theater. Um, so you walk in, and once you go into the actual theater, it's really big, and it's like they have like these big fancy ceilings that look crazy, and it's like you feel like you're watching like like a premiere. I could see why they had premieres there. It feels like a
Right.
fancy ass, like the aesthetic is very fancy.
Right.
Um, it's an older theater, but it just looks bougie once you go in there. The
Okay.
seats themselves, though, they're like pretty standard, but
Yeah.
you know it's definitely a cool experience. It's very I mean it's pricey because of it's a famous theater. But it's a cool one time watch. I mean, if you're ever in California, I would say you should probably check it out. I feel like you'd appreciate it. Um,
Yeah. I definitely want to go there one day.
yeah. But yeah, no, it's the creator. It's so well directed. Of course, it is. It's such a pretty movie as well. It's the cinematography is great.
Hmm.
Um, I the story is awesome. The effects are fantastic considering the budget. But I know Gareth Edwards, the director, who specializes in special effects, so it's no surprise that they were able to do so much with such little.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like not a lot of people watched it, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I know it had some decent reviews, but not a lot of people went and saw it, which sucks because it's definitely a big screen type of movie, you know?
Oh yeah. I'm
Um,
glad I saw it in well, I saw it at Cinemark. They had like an early showing thing and it
right,
was
right, right.
Cinemark XD, which is like their IMAX version.
Yeah.
And man, it was a really good looking movie on the
Mm-hmm.
screen there. I was like, man, I'm glad I saw it like this because and
Yeah.
there's only like three people in my audience, and I'm just like, man, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. But very underrated for sure.
Yeah.
Overrated. Oh, this is where my hot takes come in. I know you have this ranked quite high,
Okay.
and it was nominated for Best Picture. And that movie is Past Lives. I found to be overrated.
Oh,
Um,
I actually feel the same way as you, believe it or not. I know because I
really?
don't have so many movies on my list, it might appear that it's high, but it really isn't.
Okay.
I think I gave it, actually, no, I gave it an 8. I don't know. I feel
Okay.
like I might reduce that because I watched that movie and I was just like, I mean, okay, like this movie's just okay. I don't get it. I don't get the hype.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
exactly how I felt. I like the two main characters who this is about. I just felt like they were kind of okay. So for me, what makes or breaks a movie is the characters. Like you can have a bad movie, but if you have characters that I can genuinely get behind and care about, then
Hmm.
it could save a movie. But in this instance, like I thought the main guy, I forgot his name, but like the man from Korea that the protagonist
Yeah.
she kind of likes, well liked. Um, I thought he was kind of like a annoying, very annoying. He was
I didn't
kind of
find
just
him
like
annoying. I just felt he
very
was very,
whiny and is kind of like weird.
yeah.
And like I thought like the whole point of the movie, like I thought was so messed up. Like I felt bad for her. She was married to the guy, right? The white dude.
And that's another
Or
thing, by the way. I mean, we're not going to spoil the movie necessarily, but to me, it felt very unrealistic because at the end of the
yeah.
movie, you're like, is this guy really gonna let his wife bang this dude? Like, it doesn't seem realistic to me.
No, and
I
like you
don't
feel
believe this.
bad the whole movie. Like I don't want to like why are we caring so much about these characters doing this? It just
Right.
it just gave me the ick. And don't get me wrong, it's a well-directed movie. There's, it's eight was it A24 who did
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, A24, so it's it has the vibes. Um it has, some nice moments. It just overall I just couldn't get behind it. It just I don't know. And a lot of it like feels like it takes a while to kind of get to this point just for it to
Hmm.
kind of just be something that lasts like a day or two. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's it. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
I think I gave it an 8. Now I'm thinking about it. I really like the way it was shot. It was a very well made movie. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gave it like an
yeah,
8 minimum. I was like, all right, this is like a B. But honestly, really thinking about it, it's more probably like a 7 or 7.5 because the story for
yeah,
me was just kind of like, So
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. And so yeah, that's my opinion on Past Lives. I mean, I'm sure people. I mean, obviously, people really loved it if it got nominated for Best Picture, but it just didn't work for me that much. I mean, I still have it. Like, what did I give it? I gave it a 3. So I like, I liked it. It just
yeah.
wasn't. I was just like really,
Okay,
um,
so something I need to ask you, by the way. Okay, so on your
yes.
list, I'm not going to say you're number one because, you're going to make a video about it. Um, that movie technically came out in 2022, I think, right?
It didn't. No. Okay. So here's the thing. I am basing this off of theatrical releases. So when it was
Okay.
available to the public. So that movie,
Oh,
that movie had a festival premiere in 2022.
okay.
It premiered at a festival, and Letterboxd has this weird thing where if it premieres at all to anyone,
Uh-huh.
it'll put that as the year. So there's some movies that like may have, had a premiere at like a fancy film festival,
Yeah.
but didn't come out in theaters until, like, for example, like the newer Richard Linklater movie, the one he's doing for Netflix.
Hmm.
That had a festival premiere last year, I believe. So like some critics saw it, and it counts as being released as last year. However, it doesn't have its official release until this year.
Okay.
Um, so like for example, well, okay. So for example, that movie, we could talk about it. I mean, I've talked about it a lot, kind of a little
Yeah,
bit,
I
so
think
people
one of the
know.
podcasts you probably I distinctly remember you were talking about it because you had seen it and you're like, dude, you got to see this movie.
Which you didn't care for as much. It's fine. It's fine. I,
Yeah,
I get
so
it.
I watched it recently. Walmart has been selling the cool steelbooks now. I don't know if you
I
noticed.
know.
They
I
have the
understand.
Skinamarink steelbook. I was like, ooh, let me. I haven't seen it.
Which by the way, I don't think we mentioned it. My number one of last year was Skin and Brink.
Yeah,
If you,
that's the
yeah,
movie we're referring to, people.
yeah.
So yeah, I saw this. I was like, ooh, this movie's supposed to be awesome. It's a cool steelbook. I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it, watched it home, and I did the right thing. I turned all the lights off. It was at
Okay,
nighttime. I was by
okay,
myself. The door was
okay,
shut, and
okay.
I fucking I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was scared. There's
Yeah.
one particular jump scare towards the end, and I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Is it the
Involving
telephone?
yes, that one,
Yeah,
that one absolutely got me.
that
Um,
one's so cool.
yeah, but the reason I only gave the movie 3 stars, which translates to like a 6 or like a 6.5 for
Not a
me,
lot happens.
it's not really a movie. You know what I
I
mean?
understand. I
It's
understand it
not it's
completely.
not a cinematic. It doesn't have like a narrative. I mean, it does have a narrative, but it's
Kind
not
of.
a
Yeah.
movie I can watch a lot. It's not a conventional movie, obviously.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong though, the scares were super effective. It's very
Mhm.
well done for the budget, obviously. And it's very atmospheric and everything. And again, it's very well made.
Yeah.
It's just not my cup of tea.
I
But I
know.
totally get why you liked it. I totally get it.
Yeah, that's what I say because I working at a theater, I get asked a lot what my favorite movie of last year was, my favorite like and like I like it's hard to explain. So like I'll say it, but I'm like, trust me, it's not for everyone. Like people I've talked to who have seen it, it's either they loved it or they just didn't get it and they
Right.
totally hated it. I'm glad you enjoyed it though. I mean, it's not, again, it's not conventional. It's not for everybody. But I
Yeah.
think it just worked so well for me. Which I guess I could say it's underrated because I'm pretty sure not that many people have seen it. I mean, I know there's been some videos. I think what was it, Stuckman who did a review on it, I think at one point. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's not a movie that's been seen by a lot of people, but my God, it worked for me so much. Which yeah, it's definitely a movie that you need to really immerse yourself into. If I feel like if you have a phone, if you're distracted, it won't work. Like you really need to be focused on
Oh,
it.
for sure.
Yeah, because it's definitely a slow burn, but it does so to get you fully just immersed for those scares, which happen so once in a while. But
Yeah.
the way they set it up, oh my God, the scares are so good. Um, and I think it worked a bit better for me because I grew up, I mean, I'm 21 right now, so I kind of grew up right as the early internet phase was going on, and
Mhm.
analog horror was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, And that was always like a big scare for me because you'd see it all over the internet, like these just unnerving images, or just like, the analog horror, like Slender Man, or just like, those creepy
Yeah,
pastas, stuff like that. So considering that was like a big scare growing up, this one, considering it's essentially analog horror, the movie, it just, it really did a lot for me. And you do have to kind of interpret things your own way. There's like, you just see things and you're like, oh my God, what is that?
right.
And it just, the vibe of it all, it just, I don't know. Also, not to mention, when I watched it like, I mean, I've seen it a couple times after the fact. Like at
Mhm.
home, I bought the movie as soon as it came out. um but also, like, I think just the atmosphere I was in watching it kind of unravel for the first time. Like, I saw it twice in theaters.
Wow.
um yeah, with different people who all kind of were my age and kind of understood what it was doing and loved it just as much as me.
Yeah.
So man, it's definitely, again, it's not for everyone, but if it gets you, it really gets you.
Oh
um
yeah. I'm sure. I wish I saw it in a theater. I'm sure that would.
Sorry guys, I think the Skinamarink demon Skinamarink us off the thing, but we
Yeah.
kind of cut out
Commercial
there for a
break.
sec. Yeah. Anyway, movies, that right? Yeah, movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we were talking about Godzilla. I think I was starting to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about
That was the last
Godzilla.
thing you said.
Yeah, but there was a new Godzilla movie last year, and we got a Godzilla movie kind of sort of this year.
Kind of, sort of.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a half Godzilla movie this
Did
year.
you watch my review, by the way, for Godzilla X Kong?
I did,
Dude, that guy that walked in the theater, dude, he ruined the movie for me, man. That was,
man.
oh my God, that was so annoying. I wish I could have filmed it or something and just put it
You
on the
turn your
channel. Like,
flash and put it on him.
bro, that guy was such an asshole. It wasn't even funny. I was like, man, like, you have any care for anybody else other than yourself, sir? Yeah. So, yes, please tell me about -1 because that movie actually came out around the time my tinnitus happened and I was not
Yeah.
feeling, well.
Right,
So
right,
I
right, right.
didn't, I kind of just missed that movie. But how was that?
Masterpiece.
Okay.
It is, at least for me, the best Japanese released Godzilla movie ever made.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I have, my bias of Godzilla 2014 still being my favorite movie ever made. Therefore, that's the best Godzilla movie to me. But no, -1 is hard second. It's, dude, it's a perfect Godzilla movie essentially. Um, the you genuinely care about the characters in a way that it kind of makes the movie actually, you get a lot of complaints that the characters, like, why should we be caring about characters in a Godzilla movie? We're here for
Hmm.
Godzilla. But in this sense, it's like they're so, like, they do so well and are written so well that it's like it enhances the experience. And man, it does everything perfectly. Like, the reasoning and the story behind the characters you follow, how Godzilla ties into that, the actual Godzilla action is crazy. It's so cool.
Hmm.
um the score is fantastic. It's shot really well. um Man, like, what do you say about a perfect movie other than, yeah, it's great, it does everything good. um but yeah, I'm really waiting for it to come out on digital physical media. Like I need to rewatch it again. It's, man, it's peak fiction to me.
Okay. Yeah, my
Hmm.
sister actually went to see it with a friend and she was like
Really,
gushing about the movie. I was like, really? And she's a fucking critic, trust me. And she's not
really.
really into Godzilla or anything. So I was like, okay, it must be good.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
And when I was working when this movie came out, at first the opening weekend, just it was like not too busy. Just a couple of, like, the big Godzilla fans came in and watched it. But I think word of mouth happened because the following 2 weekends that this movie was playing, it was so packed and people were coming out loving it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so I have not met a single person who hasn't liked it. Like, really, really liked it. It's, man, it's crazy how unexpectedly good this was. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. From the trailers, I thought it was going to be good, but
Mhm.
my God, this was insane how well done it was.
I like to at the Oscars the team that worked on the movie was like so happy, like, oh my God, we won an
Yeah.
Oscar. Like, bro, I felt so happy for these people. I'm like, man, these
Yeah,
guys seem really
I
excited.
know. Hmm.
So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the budget they had, like, man, I'm like, there's nothing you can really say. Like, it's just see it, like, watch it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Right.
just, it's so well done. It's so good. I have it at, like, I like, I have it as a 5 out of 5. Like, genuine. Like, I think you'll feel the same way. Like,
Okay.
genuinely.
Okay. Shit. I mean, I keep hearing rumors like if it's getting a 4K or not in America, like if people just don't have an answer yet. I'm like really hoping it gets one.
Yeah, I
So
hope so too.
yeah,
Um,
but
on that note, Godzilla X Kong.
yeah.
You've seen that one.
Yeah, to me, overall, generic ass movie. Just overall. I mean, I reviewed it, but that's what it is to me. It was super generic.
Yeah, I could see that. So what's funny is that, remember, like, during the early stages of this podcast, Godzilla versus Kong was so big, and
Yes.
now we have a whole new movie out, which is crazy to me. But anyway, I what did you give? What rating did you give it, by the way? What did you?
This one, the new one,
Okay, yeah, we have the same rating. We both gave it three
same.
and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. I mean, you have a review, but I guess, like, what you said is generic. What else? What did you like? What else
Well,
did you not
okay, all
like?
the fighting stuff, the visual effects, all that stuff was good, you know.
Mhm,
It's just the
mhm.
human stuff. Everything aside from that was just so bland and generic. I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
this movie did not grab me at all. And again, the guy kind of ruined the part. It was literally the scene in Egypt where Godzilla and
They're
Kong are meeting up for the
fighting.
first time
Yeah.
and they're fighting each other, and the guy ruined that whole part for me. I
Hmm.
missed like most of it. So I feel like
Dang.
maybe that kind of deterred from it a little bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, this movie, especially since the last one, I really loved the last one.
Yeah.
It was
I
just
remember we were
nowhere
gushing
near as
about it.
good, in my opinion. So
No, yeah. So when I did do a rewatch of all of the MonsterVerse before this movie came out, leading up to it.
mm,
I do. Okay, so this movie came out 10 years. It's been 10 years since 2014 came out. So I was hoping they would do something a bit more grand in the sense, but
yeah,
like I'm not gonna let that tarnish the movie because that has nothing to do with it. Um, but no, I rewatched all of them. This one's second to last on that list. But I still enjoyed it. It's still a lot of fun. Like,
yeah,
I'm still planning on buying it when it comes out, obviously. And I could see myself rewatching it again, but just fast forwarding through, like, the human parts, because
mm,
I don't know what happened where the human parts in Godzilla versus Kong, it wasn't, great in the sense, but I was like, I could, like, it wasn't terrible. Like, it was definitely a step up from the previous Godzilla movie.
right,
The human elements in that movie, like, I think because they were split up and there was a lot of things going on, and made it a bit more easy to follow. But
yeah,
this one, the character elements, I just didn't care. I did not care. Um, but it is a shorter movie, so you do get to the action stuff quite fast. And considering this movie is purposely going for camp, over the top craziness, I think the action is really fun.
yeah.
It's so cool. It's just because at this point they don't care. So they're just doing crazy stuff. Like, at one point, slight spoiler, Godzilla does a swan dive
Oh yeah,
into the water, and I was like, no, okay, I am so in.
right.
Um, it's really cool. And when, Kong starts swinging a certain character around,
Hmm.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, that was so funny to me. And it just does a lot of, like, that. It's like, it's goofy in the right sense, and,
right.
like, it's a really fun watch when you get to, like, the action stuff. And there's a lot of monkey business going on. A
A lot of monkeys.
lot of monkey business.
Planet of the Apes coming out soon too. Even more
Yeah,
monkeys.
yeah, even more monkeys. But yeah, I always appreciate a good amount of monkey shenanigans. I always
Oh,
do.
question by the way. Well, two questions.
Yes,
So I know you're the person to ask this.
yes.
I thought, well, we can talk spoilers now. It's been out for a little bit. If
Yeah, I
you
guess we
don't
can talk
want to hear, just
spoilers.
skip ahead, whatever. Okay,
Okay.
I thought Mothra was dead. How did Mothra come back?
Uh, this movie does a weird way of bringing Mothra back. So yeah, Mothra does die, and in, like, a weird post-credit scene in King of the Monsters, they make it seem like there's, like, another egg, another Mothra egg, but they
Okay.
completely just cut that out because in this movie, apparently the kid like is connected with Mothra somehow, like the Mothra people, I guess, and has enough energy to bring Mothra back through the Mothra temple
Okay.
or some shit. I don't know. It's very weird. But
Yeah.
Mothra comes back and is attached to this kid, and
Okay. Because I only watched King of the Monsters that one time, so I was like, wait, didn't Mothra die? Like,
yeah, Mothra does die.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
know.
And my other question too, kind of off tangent a little bit. How
Okay.
is the TV show? I'm sure you watched it. Is it
Oh
good?
right, yeah, yeah. It's really good actually.
Okay.
Um, in my monsters ranking, if I could, if it was on Letterbox, I would have it like at second or third place. It's really well done.
Okay.
There is a lot more character elements. It is very character heavy, but I think they, because it's a show, they are able to kind of lash them out a bit more, and their motives are a bit more understanding, and you know they're characters you can follow. There's definitely times where it's like there's like at one point like a weird love triangle going on because it cuts back and forth from the future to the present quite a bit. And there's like certain times where you're like, you know, but when the times Godzilla does show up, it's really cool. The effects are good. Of course, Apple has the money.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think you would enjoy it. It has your boy Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah, and his
Um,
son plays the younger one. And I love when they
yeah,
do stuff like
Captain
that.
America himself.
Yeah, right.
Old Captain America. Um, yeah, no, I think you would enjoy it. It's very solid. It's a
Okay.
good drama. There's some cool monster stuff in it. It's you know it's a good show.
Okay.
They already confirmed a season two is happening. So I'll be watching that one. And yeah, it's solid.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Because I
Mhm.
never heard anything about that show. I'm like, man, is it
Yeah,
good
it flew
or
under the
like what?
radar. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
Mhm. And I guess while we're talking about Godzilla vs Kong, which is a movie from this year, what are your thoughts on some of the movies you've seen this year?
okay, this year, let me pull up. So I've only seen six. My list is very small. How many have you seen so far?
Seven. Yeah.
Seven? Okay.
No, eight. Sorry, eight. I've seen eight.
Okay, so I'm slightly just a little bit behind you.
Yeah, I'm not.
Mainly because you're watching last year's stuff, so
Yeah, no. I told myself I am not doing what I'm doing last year again this year. I am taking it. I am just watching what I
yeah.
want to watch.
So far the year's been good. The only one I thought was genuinely bad, of course, is Madam Web.
Madam Web.
That is, I mean,
Yeah.
how do you make that movie and not realize you're making a bad movie? They had to have known. I mean, come on.
Well,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
apparently, like Sony, of course, there was a lot of behind the scenes drama with it, and from what
Yeah.
I've seen, a lot of stuff was kind of changed last minute. Scripts were rewritten. Actors didn't know what the hell was going on. But I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm just seeing this based off of things I've seen. Who knows what's true? But I feel like you can't make a movie like this bad unless there was something had to have happened behind the scenes.
I'm looking at the poster right now, and just Dakota Johnson face on the poster, like that's all
Well,
you need to know. Like you
that's a
just see
funny
that
story.
expression,
Um,
and
yeah, so I was able to request a post. Okay, so I have a friend who's moving into like a new house
uh-huh.
and he doesn't have any decorations. So I was like, "Oh, I got some decorations for you." So I purposely had them give me the poster from the theater where it's just her, like
Oh my
just
God,
her, and it's a huge poster and I gave it to him. And
that's
yeah,
hilarious.
I'm hoping he puts it on the ceiling, but um
That
yeah,
is so
no,
funny.
it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. I said it in my review that when your movie makes Morbius look good, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I would rather get morbed again than
Right, I'll
get
rather morb
Madam
all over the
Webbed.
place. Oh my God. Yeah, so number one, I got Dune Part Two, which I noticed
Okay.
you had as well, and
Yes.
that's probably gonna stay there for a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Fantastic movie. Saw it in IMAX, blew me away.
Mhm.
Can't wait for the next one. I hope they do another one. Um,
Yes, I think they already are. I think they confirmed it. I think
yeah,
Messiah is
it's pretty
happening.
much I believe these two movies were the first book, and now they're gonna start the
Yeah.
second book, which is Dune Messiah, I think is called.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not a
Yes.
huge Dune guy aside from the
Yeah.
movies. I don't know. But I think there's like six books total, so if they really wanted to, they could make movies forever. Um, but again, these are giant movies, and I guess Denis Villeneuve wants to do other things, maybe. So I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, excellent movie. Number two, I got Love Lies Bleeding. Did you see that one yet?
No, I wanted to, but they stopped playing it around me, so I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, already? I feel like it just came out. They're not showing
Yeah,
it
that's what I
anymore?
thought. But
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah, that movie was fucking cool, man. My review kind of fell apart though because my microphone crapped out on me.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a cool movie, man. Like I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Civil War was really good.
Yeah,
Saw that one, right?
surprising me. I'll talk about it, but continue.
Yeah, I did a review. You guys can check it. I reviewed all these movies. Ghostbusters was disappointing. Didn't hate it, but as a lifelong fan, I was disappointed. Again, I have a review. And then we just talked about Godzilla X Kong. That's my number five. And then Madam Web is number six. And it's probably gonna stay at the end of the list for the whole year, if I had to guess. So
Yeah.
all right, so go ahead and talk about your list. Let me pull it up.
Yeah. Number one, I got Dune Messiah. I mean, not Dune Messiah. Dune Part Two.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah. No, I got Dune Part Two. Obviously, I mean, everyone has, I'm sure, seen it at this point.
Yeah.
At least people who listen to the podcast. It's phenomenal. It's well directed. The characters are awesome. The action's great. It's well shot. I mean, damn near perfect. It's a great sequel. I loved this movie a lot more than I liked the first one. Don't get me wrong, I like the first one, but I think this one just really
Yeah,
did a
because
lot
I
more for me.
rewatched the first one in anticipation for this, and I was like, man, this movie is just fucking exposition. Like, I remember when I
Yeah,
first watched it,
yeah.
I was like, man, this movie's incredible. It's like fantastic. It's this grand epic movie. And then I watch it again, and I'm like, man, it was just exposition. Like, what the
hmm
hell?
hmm Yeah, no, the new one, it really was a cinematic achievement.
Yeah.
Um, it was great seeing it in IMAX, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, then at number two, I got Civil War, which is crazy because okay, I know you mentioned the trailer like being like a famous thing because of that one line. Um, here's the thing: I didn't like the trailer when it first came out.
Oh, really?
Other than that one part, that one line is what made me kind of sold it for me.
Same.
But the trailer to me kind of made me cringe heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I rolled the whole time during the trailer. I was like, oh my god, like it just was so cringe to me, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to watch this. But I was like, okay, but wait a minute, it is A24, you know,
Yeah.
has a yeah, it seems like it has a good cast. It's their biggest budget movie. They're going all in on it.
Hmm.
Let me just give it a chance. So I went and saw it, and oh my god, was I so wrong?
Yeah.
It was genuinely surprising how much I enjoyed it. Um, it's man, it wasn't what I expected because it's literally a road trip movie.
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I think the characters are so their emotion and the depth they go and the world around them is so well crafted
Yeah.
and um like I know there's like the political issues in it all, but I think it does a good job of separating itself enough from current lines to where it doesn't seem like it's preaching one side or the other. I mean, it clearly has its meanings and its messages
Mhm.
about war and stuff like that. Like it shows how like the president did dumb stuff, causes stuff to happen, but also a lot of the people involved, like the regular people who are apparently fighting for this cause, are kind of not really fighting for a cause and are just fighting just for the sake of violence because they love violence.
Yeah.
Like that part with not to get too much into spoilers because it's still new, but like those guys at the gas station with the
Oh,
car wash,
yeah.
like they just wanted to kill, like they just are looking for people to kill and
Yeah.
using this war as an excuse to do so.
They're playing with their
um
food. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so I think it really did a good job of showing how both sides, like nothing about this is good at all.
Yeah.
Even the photography side of it, like they're in trouble, all like none of it is good.
Hmm.
um and I think it did a really good job of doing that, while being its own world, but dipping enough into our world to kind of be like, okay, whoa, like this is crazy.
Right.
And it's just the acting, the performances are fantastic. It's shot so well.
Oh my God,
Um,
dude. The scene with the fire and the
that's my favorite
Japanese.
part.
Oh
It's
my
oh my
God.
god, I was sitting there in awe when that happened. The heart of the fire, man, and the music playing.
Yeah.
Sturgill Simpson, "Dead Don't Die."
Oh my
That's who
God.
sang that song. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it genuinely surprised me how good it was.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna rewatch it and buy it when it comes out.
Yeah, and it's getting a 4K, which is great. So,
Yeah, great. A24, you did it again.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Next, I got a movie I know you haven't seen. Immaculate, which is a horror
No.
movie. Um, I was like, I'll give it a chance. I was kind of, I wanted to watch a horror movie. I was kind of in that mood, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I genuinely was really pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed Immaculate. It's not really scary in the slightest. There's like, um, it's not that scary. I'm telling you right now. It's more of like the ideas and what could be happening that's a bit scarier. Like there's not that many jump scares. I
Okay.
mean, there's some gore in it, but no, it's a lot. It's very much a drama kind of rather than a horror in some aspects of it. But there's story elements which I wasn't expecting, which I thought was really interesting and kind of cool.
Okay.
There's like a I guess yeah, there's like a twist that happens where I was like, okay, this is like unique. I really want to see where this goes. And I think what happens, especially the final shot, it's really cool. It's really well done. It has a very interesting premise. Once you kind of figure out what's going on, it starts out a bit basic. It takes a bit to kind of get started. You're kind of like, oh, it's kind
Hmm.
of just feels a little generic. But once it starts to really get going, it does conclude a bit fast. Once things are kind of revealed, but I really think the story itself kind of is what sold it for me and what I thought was really engaging. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard good things about that movie. Like people were like, "Oh
yeah,
yeah, that Immaculate was actually really good." I was like, "Okay,
yeah, it was. I think it's a good watch. If you have a
okay,
chance to see it.
okay,
Um, and Godzilla X Kong was next. That's fourth.
yeah,
I had fun with it. Wasn't perfect, had some flaws, but I had fun with it.
yeah,
We talked about that already. After that is the Mean Girls reboot. Um, I knew it was a musical, so obviously I wasn't mad. Like some people were going into a musical, finding out it's a musical. I knew it was a musical going into it.
Eh,
Um, and it's not nearly as good as the original.
right,
But I think what makes this movie better is when it does its own thing because I feel like when it does its own thing and kind of has its own take, that's when it's the most solid. It's just when it tries to do stuff from the original, that's when it falls a bit flat for me because it's like, okay, I've seen this but done better. But when it
right,
does its like when
exactly.
it does the musical aspects of it, when it kind of takes its little characters and does things a little bit differently, that's when I think it shines the best. So like as someone who really enjoys that original, I didn't hate this. I like it has issues obviously and isn't as good, but there's some aspects I enjoyed.
Okay,
Um, and then after that is Ghostbusters. I mean not Ghostbusters after Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
yeah,
Um, I thought it was okay.
yeah,
Um, it got like it just seemed like there was way too much going on. Like
yes,
it seemed like the first like half of the movie was continuously just set up. Like nothing like like it's so weird. Like the whole movie, it just seems like stuff was being set up the whole time. And it's not until like the very kind of end things tie together a bit, but it's like one scene would end and then somehow like a new element, like, oh, this thing's happening now. Oh, this
yeah,
thing's kind of happening. And I'm like, when are we going to get into the main story? It just seems like you're continuously kind of just, oh, no, there's this thing happening, but there's this, and this character's doing this. It's like,
right,
I just kind of want to focus on the story because the actual Frozen Empire element, like it happens, but I really wish it delved a bit more into that because I really liked the ghosts. Like the
yeah,
main, I thought it was really cool, but he like is like slight spoiler. He's kind of in just one spot throughout the whole movie
I
towards the
know,
third act. He
yeah.
never goes or does anything. Like, and I'm like, man, like,
Something I realized after I made my review, I was like, man, they did not need to have the final fight in the firehouse. Everybody's so
no,
tight and compact. Like there's 11 Ghostbusters. There's
yeah,
one giant ghost, and they're all just standing in this tiny space fight. Bro, take the fight somewhere else. Like,
yeah,
you know
you
what I
see the
mean?
ghost destroy one shop and the rest is just in like one spot in the firehouse. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Like, really? Like, that's it?
Yeah, that movie, it was all over the place. And again, I was very disappointed. I mean, again, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
bad. It's
like the
just,
characters were
man,
fine.
it could have been so much better. Like the last one was so
Yeah.
great. It's like, ugh, you guys fumbled.
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't hate it. Like, I liked some aspects of it. While there were a lot of plot lines happening, a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah.
certain plot lines, certain things going on, I did like, some I didn't. Um, so there was aspects that were fine. It could have been a bit tighter of a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been a bit more focused. But it was cool. I liked all the ghosts in the movie. I thought that aspect was pretty cool. I just, it could have done more.
Yeah.
But it was okay. Then after that, I saw the movie Lisa Frankenstein, which is a like a rom com ish.
And that
Like
was directed by Robin Williams' daughter. So how
yeah,
was that?
it was fine. I didn't love it. Um, I don't know. It just I could get why some people like it. I could see this one becoming like a cult classic for people down the line. It's so weirdly put together. Like I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just me, but it's like it has like these really kind of awkward moments. It's not necessarily from the actors. It's more so just the way it was directed and
Okay.
the way it was edited together. It just I'm like it just had a weird off vibe. The two main characters though, I thought they were nice. Like it has some funny moments in it. It's just a really kind of weirdly put together movie, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But it has its moments, just nothing particularly crazy or that interesting to me. But the few moments that worked, they worked. It kind of was just like, oh, that was a movie that happened. Okay, move on. And then the last place I got Madam Web,
Of
which
course.
I didn't appreciate being Madam Web John that
Yeah.
much,
Did
but
did you know he was in the Amazon with my mother when she was researching spiders right before she died? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there weird little freaky Spider-Man looking creatures crawling around?
Oh my God. I don't have a neuro what did she say? I don't have a neuromuscular disorder.
Yeah. Why
Uh,
did they look like Spider-Man? Like why?
and with great power. Oh no, wait, what does he say? You must take on that responsibility and great power
Yeah.
will come. But man,
Gee, I sure do wonder what that baby was named. Okay, like I don't know why they set it up just to not execute it in the movie. Like
oh,
they
you
have
know,
like a
oh,
oh
sorry to
sorry,
cut you
continue.
off. I didn't know this by the way. When I refilmed the review, apparently they're not allowed to use Spider-Man. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, apparently in this universe, Sony is not allowed to use Spider-Man. Like, I understand they're making movies with the other characters, I get it, but they
Yeah.
actually cannot use Spider-Man. I was like, what? Okay, that's strange. I figured they could just create their own like fourth version of Spider-Man and have him be fighting these guys, but I guess not.
So they won't let the MCU use Spider-Man, but they won't use Spider-Man themselves.
No, I think what it is, the deal with Marvel, they allowed Disney to use Spider-Man in their movies, but I guess they can't use him for some reason. It doesn't make any sense.
No, but then they can make Spider-Man movies. Like I don't
I don't get it.
Sony,
Yeah.
Sony. Yeah, like that. I just the whole movie.
I
Um,
know.
oh my gosh, it's so cheesy.
Yeah,
It's so cheesy.
it
That
is
third
ultimate
act.
cheese.
Um,
And the villain.
also, yeah, the villain who I don't think said any dialogue in the movie that wasn't dubbed.
Oh my
Like
God.
I cannot remember a single line in the movie that wasn't AD'd, like ADO, whatever it's called.
ADR, yeah.
ADR. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You just kind of need movies like this to exist. You need bad movies to exist, and this is
Yeah. I
so.
did see it in IMAX, by the way.
Oh my God, how was that?
you know, it didn't really enhance much.
Yeah,
It's funny because okay, I'm spoiling this movie because no one gives a shit about it.
yeah,
They that after somehow she loses her vision, right? Okay. Um, after landing in the water
yeah.
and ends up in a wheelchair. When we first see her and she just kind of just rolling around that wheelchair, it's taking like I thought it was supposed to be like a joke, but it's like serious. It's like no, like that's her. Like I thought it was like jokey, like she's supposed to purposely look goofy, but no, it's
Right.
just that no, that's serious. It's just the look, and I'm like, oh okay, and everyone's just like so nonchalant about it, and then we literally get clickbaited in the sense that we get like this superhero costume shit for like 2 seconds. Literally movie clickbait at its finest. Um, what do you think about the costumes, by the way?
Honestly, of course, Sydney Sweeney's costume. You can't
Hers
complain about
looks
that. If
great. Yeah,
anybody complains about that, yeah. Um, the other ones, they're all right. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, the ADR guy, his costume was kind of cheesy. It was
yeah.
very weird looking. Madam Web's,
My
I
mom's
guess,
ultimate form.
costume at the end was weird looking.
Yeah.
Um, the spider people in the jungle was weird looking.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie was on drugs, man. It
It
was
looks okay. I could say this because I recently rewatched the first Spider-Man in theaters.
me too.
Um,
That was
you
great, by the
did.
way.
Okay, good. Are you watching Spider-Man 2 as well?
See, the problem with me, I work Monday nights and it's
Oh,
Spider Mondays. I could only do this one because I was off this week.
yeah. Luckily around me, I think they're doing it up until Tuesday as well.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
heard they're doing it. Each movie's going to be in theaters for 4 days, so Monday to Thursday. But again,
yeah.
I work Monday to Thursday nights, so I
Maybe they
can't
might
see them.
have early time showings. He could
No,
check.
they only have 7 p.m. over here,
Oh,
and I
oof.
work. So this is the only one I could do. And I really wanted to just do the first two Spider-Mans because I never got to see those in theaters.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, rewatching it, the way Peter's costume looks towards the end of that, where it's all beat up and kind of just rugged looking. That's how they look. That's how
That's
the
what I
spider
was
people in the
thinking.
forest look.
I was thinking that when I saw the ones, I'm like, yeah, that looks like when he gets his eyes ripped open and all that stuff at the end when he's fighting Goblin. It kind of reminds me of that. But even that one looks better than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I think Bonesaw was a better villain than the entire villain
Oh,
of
for sure.
this
Oh,
movie.
come on. Bonesaw's
I mean, Randy
great, man.
Savage. Come on.
I was
Oh,
gonna ask you about that too, like watching the movie in theaters, like how, like I had a great crowd. I don't know about you.
so originally I missed out on getting tickets, but they added another showing. I wish that I got to see it with the full crowd because from what I saw, the whole theater was sold out. But
Uh-huh.
even then, the theater I went to, there was a couple people, but they were all I could tell they were all having a great time. Every time Toby did something completely awkward, everyone was laughing. Um, like that part when he catches the tray and she's like talking to him and he's like weirdly
He's just
smiling
looking
at
at her,
her.
yeah.
Yeah, love that part. But yeah, man, I love that first Spider-Man movie so much.
Oh yeah. That was great, man. Like there's something about watching older movies in theaters. It's like I don't
Hmm.
know what it is. It's just like, man, that's really wholesome. I don't know what it is. It just feels very
Yeah.
good.
Speaking of Randy Savage, did you watch WrestleMania, by the way? The new.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the ending was a little too convoluted for me. There's too many
Okay.
fucking people showing up, but whatever. It was still a good show.
Okay, but I still got really hyped when Undertaker showed up personally. I was like,
Yeah, that
oh
was
my
cool.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
was
when
cool. Even though he's wearing
fucking
regular ass clothes.
yeah, he's just like he just shows up.
Yeah, it's like
You
he's got
got
nothing to
the
do with this story, but he shows up. Okay,
yeah, it
whatever,
was
sure.
you got the John Cena Brock rematch, kind of sorta for a brief
Yeah,
sec.
the Shield without, John Moxley, obviously he's in another company, and I was just like, what was the
Yeah.
point of that? He just gets punched in the face, and that
By
was
yeah, what's his
okay.
name? Yeah.
I don't know. That whole ending was weird for me, but it was a great show though. It was cool.
Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling in like a while, but I watched that one just because I was curious, and I was like, oh my, like that's, yeah, I was hyped. I
Yeah.
genuinely was hyped. But I figured you would have watched it because you're the wrestling guy.
Yeah, I don't watch it week to week anymore. I haven't done that in
Yeah,
a long ass time, but I do keep up with like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble,
yeah,
like the big shows like that. I watch
mm-hmm.
those. And yeah, it was good. Obviously Vince is out of the company now, obviously big
Ugh.
scandal.
Eek.
And Triple H is in charge now, and you can tell
Mhm.
things are a lot better. The wrestlers seem like they really enjoy being there now. There's no behind the scenes drama or anything, it seems
Mhm.
like. And, you know, yeah, it just seems like a good time right now to be a wrestling fan. So I'm happy, for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know.
for sure, for
So
sure.
all right, we have 6 minutes remaining on the recording. So,
Oof.
is there anything
Any,
else you wanted to speak on that we didn't mention?
I don't know. You're a gamer now. Any like hot topics? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm still playing Spider-Man 2 right now on PS5.
Okay.
And it's a much bigger game than the other Spider-Mans, I can
Yeah.
tell, because it's taking
Hmm.
me a long time. I haven't been playing as frequently, because I pretty much marathon the first two games,
Right.
and I'm taking my time with this one, I guess. I don't
Hmm.
know, it's fun though. Like I'm really enjoying it. I decided not to return Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I am gonna give it a chance.
Yeah, you left
Um,
everyone in that video on a cliffhanger, but yeah,
I
you're
know.
finally revealing it now. You
I
kept
think I
it.
just didn't want to admit it that I kept it. I think that's why. So I'm admitting it now. For
Okay.
all one people listening to this. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot at some point when I'm done with Spider-Man, which might be a while.
Okay.
So, so what about you? What are you playing right now?
Right now I've finished the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
Oh, I actually have that. I barely did any of it, but it's
Yeah.
very fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the story, like, I have some issues with it. But overall, it was I love Lego games. They're like my favorite genre of games. They're so fun. Like they're just so simple and easy, but they're fun to complete.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Okay.
I
You
finished all
didn't
the
do
main
you didn't
episodes.
100% it, did you?
No, I haven't. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure
there's
that's
all
gonna
these.
take an
Yeah,
eternity.
it's a big game. But yeah, no. I've been the little bit of I have played in the open world aspect. I've just been using Ray Skywalker, of course.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
My favorite Skywalker, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
hot
to piss
take.
everyone else off. Have to end it that way. Have to just upset our fan base.
Yeah, well, they are making another movie with her, I heard, right? They're doing, I don't
Yeah,
know if
they're
it's
doing.
another
Yeah, all
trilogy
right.
or
Yeah, like a Ray follow up movie.
yeah,
Which
which,
I will be
again,
see the
I'm
day
not
one.
opposed to it. I wish them the best. I hope it works.
Hmm.
So see how it
But
goes.
yeah, but yeah, I think we covered everything big that we could. I think
Yeah.
last year and this year.
So in terms of the podcast continuing, it all depends when we have free time and I'm
Yeah,
off Friday, Saturdays, so
whenever
you
I'm off
know,
for Friday or Saturday, I'll try to let you know.
yeah, we'll try to this ain't gonna be a weekly thing like it used to be at the beginning. Remember that? We had a good streak going at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
But
when we were jobless little nerds.
so we'll see how it goes. But
It'll take me back to the days of 2021.
yeah, maybe I'll do some live streams again. It's been a minute since
Oh,
I've
that would
done
be so
that.
fun. You
I
should.
need you to make some videos. I
I
got
am. I'm
content.
working on a big one right now.
Yes.
So yeah, that should be out at some point whenever I watch the last 32 fucking movies.
Which man, I can't wait to watch that video. That's gonna be epic.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think that covers it.
yeah. Oh, I have to ask one last question. How is your stop motion?
It's a process. It's a
Yeah,
process.
it
That's
is.
all I'll say about it right now. It's a process. It's being worked on as usual. It's the past 3 years. But yeah,
Right.
yeah. um, but yeah, we hope everyone enjoyed listening.
Oh,
We
what
hope
are
you
we
stay.
gonna title the
Oh,
episode, by the way?
right. Uh
I don't know.
oh
So
God.
today is 420.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh
I don't
we
know.
could do we'd like to reintroduce ourselves.
Oh my God.
That's a good one.
That is great. I'm definitely using that title.
Okay.
Okay.
Um
Oh,
okay,
you're gonna
everyone.
like, by the way, I created a
Okay.
new thumbnail, logo, whatever for this. You're gonna like.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
All right. So thank you guys for listening, all one of you or whatever.
Hmm.
Made it this far.
Yes.
We'll be back sometime. I don't know when.
Hopefully not another 2 years. We
Yeah.
should be back.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, all right. It's been fun. So I'll have
Yep.
this up later tonight, and hopefully everyone comes in droves to see it. Oh my
Yep.
God, it's
I've been
back.
popped and he's been offed.
Yeah, popped and off. All right.
Uh-huh. See ya.
See ya.